What up, YouTubers? How you doing? This is my first video at my new home. Woo, this is a special video, guys. You're only gonna see one video ever. That was my first video. That's my car. Isn't that a beautiful, beautiful car right there? I love that car. And check out this nature that I am living in. Look at this beautiful, beautiful tree. I can feel the spirit of that tree, I swear. All this, 2 acres, baby. Beautiful. I'll give you a tour of the place maybe next time when it's a little more clean. It's pretty messy right now. But she's a beaut. Okay, let's get to the subject of the video here. So, this video is about what is your flavor? What is your lower self flavor? Okay? Wow, it's so quiet here. Whew, guys, I'm gonna be making some killer videos. Wow. Okay. What is your flavor? Look at me just lounging. I wasn't even able to do this. I never had one of these chairs. What is your lowest self flavor? And what I mean by that is, what is your essence? What is the flavor of consciousness? What is the taste, the smell of your lowest parts, right? One way to look at this is to do what conventional medical route does, what conventional unconscious humanity does, is say, label it. Okay, we'll label it with a word: depression, anxiety, major anxiety disorder, major depressive disorder, ADHD, whatever other, bipolar. Okay, all of these different diagnoses that we may find ourselves being told that, you know, that we are. So that's one way to go about it, right? For instance, when Johnny doesn't feel, you know, Johnny has major depressive disorder and has episodes of depression, right? Johnny has episodes of severe suicidal depression, okay? That's like a dramatic way of you know, narrating what could be happening in someone's life. Now, the other way, and a way that I was forced to adopt if I wanted to survive, and a way that I encourage all of you to play around with and tinker with, is to flip that narrative and to simply label it as your flavor, okay? So we all have a thing, a place that we go to when we're doing really, really bad, okay? Some people, when they're doing really, really bad, get extremely irritable and angry. Some people, when they're doing really, really bad and they fall into a slump, their slump is depression, fatigue. Some people's slump is panic attacks. Everyone's slump, everyone's flavor is going to be different, okay? We all have, you know, mine historically was extreme neuroses, panic anxiety, almost like phobia, what's the word? Paranoia, okay? Now my flavor is more anxiety, fear like I'm not gonna, like, fear like my business isn't gonna be successful, fear like something bad is gonna happen. It's kind of in a fear that exists irrespective of external circumstances, and it's this internal fear, right? And it could lead me like gasping for air, not literally gasping, but like I'll have to like really concentrate on my breath when this flavor kicks in. Typically happens if I'm overwhelmed, if I don't sleep, if I take too many supplements, if a lot of people trigger me in the same moment. If the triggers in particular have to do with someone I really, really, really close to and really care about, or if it has to do with the potential success of my business, right? So like, I don't know, a trigger could be like posting a YouTube video and seeing like 15 comments about how fucked up I am, you know? Actually, you know, YouTube comments don't really trigger me anymore, like hardly ever. So that wouldn't even be it. What's another example? I don't know, like a client getting pissed off or something, right? Or a client saying like, okay, here's an example, and this is hard for me to even talk about because I want to be, you know, a dude who helps 100% of people, but the fact is I can't. And occasionally there's a client who's just not getting better, and they'll email me and I can feel their frustration and I can feel what they're going through, and that triggers me. It's like, fuck, this person paid me money and I'm not able to help them. I feel terrible about this. And it kind of brings up all of my stuff with my mom, all my mommy issues, which was, I tried to rescue my mom when I was a kid, right? So I know you watch my YouTube videos, Mom. I love you. I'm not saying anything bad about you, and I'm not going to get too into detail about it. But what is the flavor? Okay, so again, my flavor is anxiety. It's graspy. It wants to create a story about something. It wants to be neurotic. This is an energy that lives inside of me that wants to make things really complicated. If I lived through that energy, well, this channel would either have like 500 subscribers, or it would have like if I isolated that energy inside of me, right? That fearful little child. If I isolated that part and that part ran the show 100% of the time, this channel would have like 500 subscribers, or maybe it would have 1 million subscribers, because it would be a fucking joke, okay? So, but the point is that, like, you know, we don't want to let those parts run the show. It's not those parts that make the difference between success and failure, between having great relationships and not, between having money and not. We all have those parts. I know some pretty freaking incredibly enlightened beings who have been on a spiritual journey for 30 plus years of total integrity, so much work and effort and money and investment that they put into the spiritual journey and into themselves. They still have these parts, right? So we don't judge these parts, and we don't say because we have these parts that it's a problem. It's the relationship to the parts, and it's the way we talk about them. And it's if we let these parts run the show, if we let these parts act out, right? These parts want to create a tornado. If you ever tune into these parts that I'm talking about, whatever your piece may be, the sad little boy, the anxious little boy, the angry little boy, that piece wants to kill someone, punch someone in the face, cry, kill himself, scream, tremble, run away, fight, whatever that little boy wants to do, that little girl wants to do. You know, if you let that piece run the show, I promise your life's going to get really, really messy. Okay, having said all that, what we want to do is we want to create a relationship where we can actually see those parts as like an outsider, have an ounce of space from it. You don't need to have a football field away from it, an ounce of space where you're looking at that part and saying, oh my God, this part of me wants to respond to this email in this way. This part of me wants to tell this person to go fuck themselves and end this contract. This person wants to ask this person wants to email this person 10 times over again and ask them if they got my text. Did they get my email? Did they get my text? What do they think? Do they like me? Are they pissed at me? Do they think less of me? Right? So these parts, it's the relationship to them. So smell, taste the flavor of yours. Have a friend reflect it to you, have a coach reflect it to you, and develop a completely new relationship to it, right? When it comes up, instead of it being the truth, instead of this story that's being fed to you being the truth, now this becomes literally a little boy who's trying to grab the steering wheel, right? And you can laugh at it, you can go for a jog, you can do some push-ups, you can have a conversation with a loved one, and chances are a half hour, hour later, the story will be completely different. You couldn't even believe that you thought that that was the right thing to do, or that you had depression, or that you had major anxiety disorder, right? When you put yourself in that category, you're stuck. You're stuck. You're not letting the essence of flow and flux and change take over, because that is the ultimate truth, my friends, is that everything is changing. So yes, you may have a major anxiety episode, it's such a lame way to put it, for an hour, okay? But guess what? An hour later, excuse me, that's one problem here I'm seeing is I think I'm going to be dealing with some allergies. It's, we'll see. So yeah, you know, what is that flavor? And oh, so an hour later, you may have had a major anxious episode. An hour later, that is no longer true. Okay. Now, it's so much easier, instead of labeling it as a major anxious episode or a major depressive episode, to be like, wow, that was like my little boy basically coming to the surface, right? My little girl, my little boy coming to the surface. I gotta edit for a second. All right, sorry, I got interrupted by a call there. Anyway, the point of this video is to explain to you that we all have shit. We all have parts of ourselves, lower parts of ourselves. And we can't be victorious over these parts of ourselves overnight. It takes time, it's a process. It takes effort, discipline, compassion, mindfulness. And the best thing you can do for yourself is to really hone in and track what it is that your flavor is. What does your flavor taste like? Get all of the pieces, right? And this too, and this too, and this too, right? Oh, and by the way, when that flavor kicks in, it also thinks that it's really, really right. It convinces me that it's right, right? And that someone else is wrong, right? So that too, and that too. So when that pathway kicks in, you can say, ha, and that too, and that too. This is how we get to manifest our life from our higher parts, okay? This is how we get to make more money, have better relationships, have better health, have that external world be coming at you in a cleaner, more grounded way. You don't need to have massive challenges and confrontations and these conflicts, because you're not living through that internal smaller part, and therefore the world doesn't feel like it needs to blast you with more of the same, right? And you're not reflecting that to the world and manifesting that. So what is your flavor? Get help from a friend or a mentor or a guide or a brother or a sister, and hone in on it. And transform it. Eventually, when you consistently live from your bigger parts, these smaller parts become a joke, and they're much harder to listen to. And they become like imagine if like a second grade bully was bullying you right now. Would you punch him in the face out of anger, or would you just laugh and be like, all right, dude, I know what this is, right? Alrighty, that's all I got for you. Make sure to send me an email if you're interested in coming to my beautiful property here for a retreat. Otherwise, I'll see you on the next video. Peace.